Ever imagine yourself like at the forefront of a field that literally, keeps us all going?
Yeah, keeps us fed, that's for sure.
Today we're doing a deep dive into agricultural science.
Really going to dig into what a career in this field actually looks like.
And we've got our trusty guide, RoleCatcher.com, for this one. It's got tons of info on, well, pretty much every career path you can think of.
And it's more than just, those images of muddy boots and overalls.
So I bet those still have their place.
Oh, absolutely. But we're really going to unearth all the skills and the career paths that shape this, honestly, surprisingly high-tech and super important field.
Globally essential, really.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's get our hands dirty, so to speak.
Metaphorically, of course.
What does an agricultural scientist actually do?
Good question.
Like, picture this. You're working on improving how we grow our food.
Crops, livestock, you name it.
Even the stuff we take for granted, like healthy soil and water.
Absolutely, those are fundamental.
So RoleCatcher, they define an agricultural scientist as someone who really digs deep
Literally and figuratively.
into how plants and animals and the whole environment, how that all works together.
It's about making agriculture more productive. That's a given.
Right. Got to feed the world.
But it's about doing it sustainably, and that is a challenge.
And that's got to be where it gets exciting, too. Figuring that out.
Absolutely. And all the different ways to do that, that's what makes this such a broad field.
I mean, you could have one scientist in a lab developing a new type of wheat, right?
Disease resistant, able to withstand drought, things like that.
Then another one's out in the field, I don't know, flying a drone over a farm.
You're not far off, actually. They might be analyzing satellite imagery.
Hold on. Satellites. You're telling me agricultural science is high-tech now?
Big time. We're talking drones checking on crop health, sensors in the soil,
Wow.
all this data analysis to help farmers make decisions, when to plant, how much to irrigate. It's pretty incredible.
So it's like farming meets Silicon Valley.
In a way, yeah, you could say that. And that's why a career in this field can be so dynamic.
I bet. And impactful, too.
You can combine your love for science and technology, but have a real impact on food security.
That's huge. Okay, but let's say you're just starting out.
Fresh out of school, eager to get your hands dirty, so to speak.
What's that journey actually look like? RoleCatcher talks about different stages of an agricultural science career, right?
Yeah, they break it down into three main levels.
Yeah.
Entry level, junior scientist, and then senior scientist.
Makes sense.
And each level builds on the one before it, You need more experience, more specialized knowledge, and you take on more of a leadership role as you climb a ladder.
Yeah, so let's say you're fresh out of university. Your head is bursting with knowledge.
But you're ready to get some real-world experience.
Exactly. That's entry level. You're probably assisting those senior scientists.
Conducting research, learning the ropes.
And then you move up to junior scientist. More responsibility.
Designing your own experiments, maybe presenting your findings at a conference. Oh, wow. That's a big step.
It is. And that's where understanding the real-world application of your work becomes really important.
Because, yeah, you can't just be stuck in the lab anymore.
It's not just about the science itself. It's about how that science can be used.
And being able to communicate that to other people.
Exactly. Like RoleCatcher gives this example of a junior scientist. They have their master's in plant breeding.
Okay, so they're already pretty specialized.
Right. So they're doing research on drought-resistant crops,
Mm-hmm.
which is crucial, right? But they're also working directly with farmers.
So they're actually taking that research out of the lab and into the field.
Exactly. Bridging that gap.
That's incredible. It's like they're not just advancing science, they're making a real difference in people's lives.
Absolutely. And as you reach that senior scientist level, you might lead research teams.
Mentor those junior scientists.
You might even get into influencing agricultural policy, working with governments, organizations.
Wow, so you could really shape the future of food.
You really could. Okay, that sounds amazing. But let's get down to it. What does it take to land one of these jobs? I'm guessing hitting the books is a good start.
Education is definitely key, but it might not be the path you expect.
Oh, how so?
I mean, agriculture, biology, those are a given, right?
Sure.
But RoleCatcher also highlights engineering,
Engineering.
environmental science, even data analytics.
Data analytics. You're telling me a love for spreadsheets could lead to a career in agricultural science. So data, like the unsung hero of modern agriculture.
It's huge. It all ties together,
Right. It's not just about getting your hands dirty in the field anymore.
Well, that too sometimes. But yeah, it's about getting your hands on some serious data.
And that's where those kind of unexpected skills that RoleCatcher mentioned come into play.
Like reading comprehension.
Wait, seriously? Reading?
Think about it. You're digging through complex research papers. You got to really understand those findings.
Okay, yeah.
And then you have to turn all that into something useful for farmers on the ground.
So you're like a scientific detective almost.
Kind of. Piecing together clues from data, research, all of it.
And then, what, you got to present your case.
Exactly. So those speaking and writing skills, those are crucial.
Makes sense. Got to get people on board with your findings.
Exactly. Imagine you're at a conference presenting your research, or you're trying to explain this complex stuff to, like, government people who make policy decisions.
Yeah, got to make them understand.
Or even just writing a grant proposal so you can keep the research going, you know?
Grants, ugh, the lifeblood of research.
Tell me about it. And it's not just the scientists you've got to connect with.
Right. What about the farmers themselves?
Yeah, they might not have a scientific background, but they have generations of practical knowledge.
Which is invaluable, honestly.
Exactly. So you have to be able to bridge that gap, speak their language, build trust.
So it's not just about being a scientist. It's about being a communicator, too. Almost like a diplomat, in a way.
Exactly. And that's what makes this career path so interesting.
A lot of hats to wear.
You're learning constantly, adapting, figuring out how to solve these really complex problems. It's never boring.
I bet. Okay, so we've established it's more than just a biology degree and a love for plants. What about actually landing one of these jobs? RoleCatcher talks about the job market, right?
They do, and it's competitive. One thing they emphasize is tailoring your application.
So no more just sending out the same resume to every farmer lab that has an opening.
Not if you want to stand out. You got to use the tools they provide, really analyze those job descriptions, and then highlight the skills and experiences that actually match what they're looking for.
Show them you're the perfect fit, right?
Yeah.
Like you've got the knowledge, the skills, the passion, the whole package.
Exactly. And networking is crucial. And I don't just mean collecting LinkedIn connections.
Right, like actually go out there and talk to people.
Attend conferences, meet other researchers, industry people.
Don't be afraid to strike up a conversation during the coffee break.
Yes.
Yep.
Places like the American Society of Agronomy, Soil Science Society of America.
Okay, got it. Taking notes.
Those groups offer great opportunities for networking, but also for professional development and just keeping up with the latest research.
Can't hurt to have a mentor in your corner either, right?
Huge help. Finding someone established in the field, they can guide you, offer advice. It's invaluable.
So much good advice here. And speaking of help, RoleCatcher has that cool feature, right? The AI interview prep.
Oh, yeah, that's a game changer.
AI that helps you practice for interviews. Sounds kind of sci-fi, honestly.
A little bit, but it works. You practice answering common interview questions, and the AI gives you feedback.
So, like, it analyzes what you're saying.
Yeah. It looks at your delivery, whether you're clear, whether your answers actually make sense.
It's like having a virtual career coach in your computer.
In a way, it is. But it's all about using these tools to improve, you know, to really present the best version of yourself.
Because nailing that interview, that's often what it comes down to. And it's like, who wouldn't want a little extra help in that situation?
Everyone gets nervous for interviews. It's totally normal.
Totally. But it's about using all the tools you've got, right? To really showcase your passion for this kind of work.
Because we need passionate people in this field, that's for sure.
Yeah, feeding a growing planet sustainably, it's not going to be easy.
It's a huge challenge.
So for everyone out there who's ready to get started, let's recap what we've learned, right, about this whole agricultural science world.
Sounds good.
We started by digging into what an agricultural scientist really does.
It's a lot more than just farming, that's for sure.
It's research, it's policy, sometimes it's even high-tech stuff.
It's a mix of everything.
And then we talked about those different career paths, how you can go from, like, a lab assistant to leading a whole research team.
And maybe even changing the way we grow our food in the future.
Yeah, that's the dream, right? But we talked about the skills you need, too. Obviously, you need to know your science.
That's the foundation.
But you got to be able to communicate those big ideas. Make sure farmers understand, policymakers, even the average person on the street.
Because you can have the most amazing scientific discovery, but if you can't explain it to anyone...
It kind of gets lost, right?
Exactly. Like imagine developing a crop that can survive with way less water. That's incredible, but you got to get farmers on board to actually plant it.
That's where those people skills come in.
Exactly.
And don't forget about networking. Go to those conferences, talk to people, learn from the best.
You never know what connections you might make.
Exactly. And if you're ready to take the plunge, well, RoleCatcher's got your back.
They've got everything you need, from writing a killer resume to prepping for those tough interviews.
So, no excuses.
Get out there, do the work, and make a difference.
Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about the science, right? It's about making sure everyone has enough to eat.
It's about the future of food.
Exactly. So, as you go about your day, think about this. What's your agricultural passion? What problem would you try to solve?
The possibilities are huge, so keep those brains buzzing, keep asking those questions, and you never know, you might just change the world.
Until next time, everyone, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.